Daryl's not gonna make it. Depends on what he shows. Okay, do I hear a motion to adopt the agenda?
I so move.
I second.
Motion made and second to adopt the agenda. Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
I move we adopt the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and second. Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay. We'll move on down to guest speakers, communication, informational items. You'll look in your book. We have LOC bulletins from the League of Oregon Cities. There's several different items in there. We have training coming up. I'll put that the date out here in shortly. Also, ODOT, with ODOT seeking the right-of-way accesses. Local government bases, there's 10 essentials for city officials in here, from home rule to land use to budgeting, public records. And that's the local government basis, okay. I have a letter here from Sue Walker from NESA. I can read it, or I can leave it up here on the table, and somebody, if anybody wants to come and read it, that's fine. I'll leave it right there. She is the president of the city council, former mayor of NESA. We have a letter here from High Desert Electric, thanking us for their business, and that will increase our hourly rate to $92 per hour. Yeah.
I went into the wrong job.
Yeah, I'm gonna become an electrician starting tomorrow. We have a business alert from the Secretary of State, Dennis Richardson, which has to do with annual report instructions form. Was not sent by the Secretary of State Corporation Division. And apparently somebody from the state has been sending out these forms for like 2 out-of-state companies, I should say, work compliance services. I want to let us know that they didn't come from work. And we got the NLC Task Force regarding housing, which is the National League of Cities, inviting us to participate in blended high-focus task force of local leaders to address how communities can better respond to growing challenges of houses. Saturday, November 10th. Trying to see where.
They'll announce it in Los Angeles.
Do we have any guest speakers on any of this? Okay, we'll go to department reports. Darrell Anderson,
Yes.
you're up first.
I did give your report, but I couldn't print it out, so.
Okay.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll be sending in the letter of intent on funding for the water project. If you remember in our one-stop meeting, we had to get that in to be on the list. So that'll be going in. That doesn't obligate the town, but it lets us put in an application, get it together. We made the last abandonment on the water line project this morning. Had a little bit of trouble getting the water shut off. Took some time. Anyway, that project is complete except for some cleanup and some paving. I wasn't there some this afternoon. I don't know how far they got on the paving this afternoon, but I'm sure they didn't quite finish it. So that should be finished tomorrow.
I see some people's water is back turning brown, but you have to run it about 20 minutes, it clears up. Is that because of some of this still?
Well, if it's in the area where we've been shutting the water on and off,
Okay.
to cut those lines and abandon the old ones, yeah, it's gonna stir
All
up,
right.
it's not good. We've been trying to open it up. We had a hydrant opened up this morning to help with that, so, but I'm sure there's gonna be some effects of that. Increases velocity in the pipes,
Yeah.
and we're gonna get some of that broken off the inside. Other than that, things are pretty good. Had some trouble with the sewer line up on North H Street. We're working on that right now, the town crew and private contractor. But, I think we're set for the water project. Get that letter or intent in, and the council can decide how to proceed.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Fire, Dennis.
I have nothing further unless you have questions.
Okay. Scott Otley's not here for 911. Public Works, Jeff is not here. Okay. Town Manager, Roberta.
Okay, well, basically, I did have our quality meeting this last week with the commissioners. We're trying to get their buy-in as far as our plan versus Lake County. We are able to enforce their ordinance, so Don has a little bit of teeth now, at least to go tell people to quit burning, and we have to cite them under our ordinance. So that was good news. Did that, and then I had a conference call with the Regional Solutions team last week. Still working on negotiations. Public Works is getting close to closure, and also working on the fire dispatch negotiations. I had hoped we could do that today, but of course I'm not ready to finalize those. We did have interviews for 911 dispatch, and we did offer one gentleman a job. So we're moving forward. So that gives us 3 part-time people right now. So that's helping with overtime. We went from about 87, 89 hours overtime the prior pay period down to 27 hours. So that really has helped on that. So, and then usual business day to day. Okay, keep up with everything.
Okay.
Oh, I might add one more thing.
Okay.
Last week when we had our work session, there was discussions about the 911 and everything that Mr. Utley brought up. It's not a big deal as what what the research that we found is it would be an agreement that the county could sign or appoint somebody from 911 directly, but it wasn't this big issue that it was made out to be. So that's a really good thing. So if we do decide to go with county, it's not going to be a major problem with 911. So that was good news.
Okay. Under old business, the Lake County Sheriff's Office LPD, we're going to table that for the reason that, what was his name?
Kurt Chapman, who is our risk manager for City County Insurance, had requested to come to one of our work sessions. And he couldn't be here today, he can be here Monday or Tuesday next week, so I'm hoping to postpone it till then, so that he could be here, or the following, I think the 28th, he could also be here that week. So we need his input because they do provide our insurance. So we're waiting for him to be here also.
Let's move on to new business. I have a letter here from Mike Beeson. Mike and I've been talking with this for more than a second year on this. As you know, our 8th annual Occupy East Street Fair and Car Show was very successful. After all the bills were paid, we have $1,500 to spend on Old Town Lakeview. That's what he called East Street. One of our ongoing projects was to purchase security cameras for East Street. After our committee met, we decided to go ahead and purchase the cameras. This will help law enforcement to better monitor what's happening downtown. We want to purchase the cameras and donate them to town police department for installation and monitoring. Our goal is to spend up to $750 on the project. Please contact either myself or Christy Burnell or Sheila Holloway to expedite the project ASAP. I've been meeting with Mike on this, and it says, thank you for supporting, or for continued support of Old Town Lakeview. Mike Beeson, Chairman. I've been meeting with Mike on this. We brought this up over a year ago about security cameras. About the same time he painted the poles. So that's one of the things that's been in the project process.
Can we monitor them? I mean, is
Well,
there set up
That's
for
what we
doing
need to
that?
find out, and I've been talking with Dave and try to find out what cameras would be the best, because we'd like to go with wireless. And that way there's no expense of running wires and stuff like that. We don't need to do any more wiring than we need to. So, we have a request to vacate an alley. The alley's between, well, Darwin could tell us more, lots 1 through 9 and 40 through 48 property, located at 18780 Roberta Road. We approved the annexation on this. That you'd like to complete a further request would be to vacate the alley between the existing property that was city and the property that was county. It is now city upon approval. Now, is this the same property that was on the east side of the road, or just on the west side?
It's on the west side.
It's on the west side.
Yes.
Okay, because they wanted to vacate, what, a road?
Between the two parcels, right?
Right, and right now, the first step we have to go through is complete the annexation. And then their request is to vacate, there was they want to make it basically one lot, is kind of what they want to do, but they'd have to vacate that alley. And then they were going to get water and sewer, according to the county, once all of this is done. But they wanted to go ahead and request that, us to vacate that alley to let them do that. And then they'll have a business, or employees, I think their mechanic business there.
Does this have to go before the planning commission or planning committee?
So the Board of Commissioners hold it where I actually handle the property vacations for the county. So as long as the property owner that completely, on both sides of the alley has signed off on it, 100% ownership is signed off on it, then there's a state statute, I don't have the statute in front of me, but it's 300 and something, that would say you can vacate it without a hearing, so it wouldn't actually have to go before us as a hearing, or we can just sign off on it. And that's what the Board of Commissioners do every time. They have it on their agenda, they just have them present it. I just state, similar to what's going on with this, is that, yeah, he owns both sides, just needs to vacate it, and there's no foreseeable reason why we'd ever need an alleyway on the backside of most of these properties. Most of the owners will probably want to come and vacate it at some point. it's my recommendation all the time on these vacations, where there's owners on both sides. It doesn't happen so much in the Lakeview area because we actually don't have owners on both sides of Illinois, and we do want to keep roads open, or at least alleyways open. But areas like Silver Lake, I've seen a bunch of them, and some other areas where there's platted town sites, but no real reason for alleyways where, you know, you're only going to see one home because there's no water sewer service. In this case, you know, I wouldn't recommend vacating the road that's behind this because there are other owners back there, but that's not what this request is, and he's going to fence the whole property. It makes sense to vacate it. So.
Now, will this stop people from getting to their property?
No, this won't cut anyone off.
Because there is a road back there.
Yeah, there's roads on Roberta, and then on, you know, a platted road on the south, and then a platted road on the
The
west behind.
alley is currently annexed
Yeah,
by the town. We annexed that when we did an annexation of the fairgrounds, all that area. There's a little different notification requirements on vacations in town. They're a little different than the county. So we probably need to have Jeff write up the vacation, and you could do it at one of your next meetings.
yeah, it is a form, I mean, there's something formal, and we always have a recording of clerk's office. So, yeah, that's different.
But my understanding is they can't vacate it until they do the annexation. System. I don't know, that's what I heard this morning, so.
Yeah, I've heard that, I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know, the town's rules probably are a little
Yeah.
bit different, but the statute is.
The notifications are a little different
Notification.
than they are in the county.
So this will come up again after the annexation's through. Okay. Let me make sure. I have a request here for speed zone change, and I will tell you, I'm behind this 100% because I've seen exactly what they're talking about. It says here, we were writing you to voice our concern for a problem we are having in our neighborhood. Speed limit on Highway 395, 140 junction to Missouri, and 395 north is currently 35. We are asking the council to please contact ODOT to see how we can change to 25 miles per hour. Currently, the speed limit in all other directions through the town is 25 because of congestion. There are people busy doing multitude of things and crossing the streets. There is a bus stop that picks up children and drops them off in front of our home. We have seen drivers unable to stop for the school bus and blow through the red stop sign on multiple occasions. This is because they are going way too fast. We not only have the bus stop, but we have children playing, cars backing out of their driveway, or people doing yard work in their front yards. This is our neighborhood. Keyword is neighborhood. Speed limits through neighborhoods are 25. There is no explanation needed here. Please, for the safety of these people who live here in this area, we ask that this be changed. Thank you for all of your help with this issue. Andrew and Denise Rucker, Andrew's here. I have seen people coming in from the north, coming down through Don's Market there, and they've got to be doing 40 and 50 miles an hour, some of them. And we definitely do, I would like to see it changed to 25.
This was topic of discussion several years ago when they revamped the speed limits along the highway, and we did make comments because we had the same type of complaints along
Right. And
Highway 395.
And I wrote the same letter
Okay.
for the same reasons.
I recall that.
Because my kids were riding the bus back then.
And so we felt that we should, we did tell the state that, but the state's jurisdiction is the highway, and so, you know, we can certainly send in another letter of request, but that jurisdiction of that highway is the state's.
We can contact Jared
So,
from ODOT.
yeah, we can,
He's been really good to deal with.
I think it'd be easy for us to just, by, you know, either a resolution or motion or have consensus or whatever, to make that recommendation to Jared Johnson, but tell him, but, you know, the county had just got done with our master plan update and transportation system plan, And so I'm just wondering where we were at with ours. I know we talked about it a couple of months back about,
Updating,
yeah, updating our
but we haven't got
TSP.
anywhere.
Yeah, so typically they're handled in that situation, but, you know, knowing that this has been a repeat request and it's been some time, I think it'd be easy for us to just, you know, this is.
Do it.
I take that as a
Do we need a
motion.
motion, or can we just direct our town manager to write a
Well,
letter,
these-
perhaps send a copy of your letter with it about what the complaints are, because it sounds, I mean, it's dangerous.
You can't
And where it
have
changes is
speeding
the question.
along a bus route. That you cannot have that. And I don't know if other people have been written, but I've seen several articles recently about some pretty horrendous
Right.
accidents
And other
because people
states.
Right.
have forgotten that that's a law that says stop, you stop with the bus. And so, and I see people ripping past the buses when they're unloading at the high school sometimes too. So I think we need to really.
What we're
get
seeing a
that.
lot of is the trucks hauling rock down to Red Rock are coming around that blind corner, and there's a bus stop with its red stop sign out,
Mhm.
and those trucks cannot slow down in time. They grab the horn, they grab the binders, they're honking at the bus driver, letting them know I'm not gonna get her stopped.
Wow.
And, yeah, I don't want a fatality to be the reason why.
Reason why
Right.
we finally do
We,
something like
we
this.
almost had that north of town,
Sure.
semi, almost
Right.
hit a young kid.
I don't want it in front of my house. Please consider this.
I'm happy
great
to
heart.
whatever you guys want me to
I
do.
think you should contact them first.
Yeah,
I think we should contact them and tell them it's urgent, and, I don't know, we should contact whoever is running the Red
That's
Rock
what I was
Trucks
thinking.
also.
to notify their drivers that that they're driving dangerous. And I live on the highway also, and it's not a bus stop, but I know they go by my house
Yeah,
pretty
the trucks
fast,
go
more than
by
25
pretty
miles an
fast.
hour.
Do they
I've
have,
done-
do they have somebody that, contracts with Red Rock for the trucking, or is
Yeah.
that just,
Yeah, I'm pretty
so
sure it
we
is.
need to get a
I'll
hold of
get a
Red
hold of
Rock
him.
and that
Several.
contractor.
Speed monitor
Yeah,
signs.
I will definitely.
I've had several other complaints regarding the speed limit. I have contacted the Pardews. I contacted Linda Pardue about it here just about a week and a half ago.
Okay.
So she was gonna address that. I hadn't had any complaints since then, doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So
Also, the
I have
state
made
police-
contact with her on that regarding this.
If the state police, you could ask them to patrol that a little more often also.
I
Stop a
think
few
they're done
people.
hauling now, pretty much.
Yeah, they're going down to Missouri now, in Roberta, because now I'm getting complaints there. But if they do, if they do change the, not about speed, about using their Jake brake. If they do decide to change that, they need to change it clear back by the cemetery.
Oh, yeah.
Clear back
Oh,
that
yeah.
same corner,
Yeah.
so.
Right, I will write them to,
And we'll get a hold of Jared. In fact, we gotta get a hold of him on another matter.
yeah.
Okay? We have an essential, training for council and incoming council will be December 13th in Klamath Falls from 7:30 to 4:30.
What day?
December 13th. Yeah.
And I have 5 slots filled right now, so, let me know if you'd like to go, if we can add you. I have you down, darling, your case, but Mayor, so, and the new calendars, they're all booked up.
Yeah, it'd be good to get a hold of the new counselors and just.
I've already talked to both Scott and Mickey, so, that,
Yeah, I know like our board commissioners and both AOC and the Rex.
isn't it working?
I don't want to go.
Okay, great.
As a refresher.
Well, and then it hurts to learn. Okay,
Okay, we have another notice here that the League of Oregon Cities have joined other cities in filing a lawsuit against the FCC over the matter of accelerating wireless expand deployment by removing barriers to infrastructure investments. So that's going on right now.
And that is basically too, if this happens to go through, it could jeopardize our franchise fees. And just for the like internet and broadband and that type of thing, but that's about 30,000 in our general fund that will be gone. So it's kind of a recommendation that we kind of hold that just in case, just because we don't know what's gonna happen.
Okay, done with that. Let's move on to public comment period. Any public comments? Hearing none, go on to mayor and council updates. I went to an ACT and SCOED meeting, quite informal. The one thing I did bring up is that to let them know, because when we talked about Red Rock, that water and sewer wouldn't be put in until next spring. Once it's in, then we'll do the paving on the road down there. They were glad to hear that. The other thing I talked to them about, and Roberta and I have been talking about this, is traffic control devices placed at the schools. Down 3rd Street, where the ones we're looking at, I would like to see, tells you how fast you're going down by the schools. And not just the high school, but the little kids' school as well. And we've talked to ODOT about taking the ones down on the highway since there's no longer schools there. And we haven't gotten anything back on that. Other than that, that's all I have. Council have anything?
I've been working with the chamber as I'm appointed to do, and we are gearing up for the gala. Right now, we are getting nominations for junior citizen, senior first citizen, those kinds of things. So if any of you know of people you'd like to nominate, you have like, I think, 2 days left or something like that to get in a nomination, so that we recognize some of the people who have made valuable contributions to our community over the years. So keep that in mind, start thinking about it. Every year after we're finished with it, somebody will come up to me and say, oh, you know, I wished I'd nominated so-and-so, they're so worthy, and you're going, yeah. So let's not do that this year. If you know somebody, get that nomination in.
I have one other thing I forgot to bring up. Judy Graham brought this in, and this will be the posters for the Labor Day weekend for their 100th year. So, and she has more if we need more copies of it, but I'm gonna have the girls post it. Okay. Do we have anything else? Okay, we will adjourn regular session as of right now, and we will go into